Internet. I'm here today to discuss managing our game collection, which is something that you all have been wanting to have me record a video about for quite a while. Well, by you all, I mean people on Twitter. So yeah, this episode is about managing your board game collection. So this video is essentially just the tips and thought processes and different things that Steve and I have gone through and we've developed for ourselves in our home of how we manage our game collection. I will say at one point we had, I don't even know, we had like 400 something games, I think, and now we're down to like under 300. Thank you for moving closer to the camera to work on that loud, chewy thing, Ichi. We don't really count. Sometimes we count, but we don't have we don't track the games via anything like that, because one of the things that we do is we make sure all of our games are visible. We don't stash them in closets, we don't hide them in cupboards, we don't put them in a back room. We did that once. We actually had a room in our second to last apartment that was the board game room, and we just put all the board games in there, and they would just breed on their own because they weren't visible and out there and part of our lives. And so it very quickly became way too many games, but we could just put them in the room and ignore the situation. So yeah, that is the number one thing that has really helped us, and that's one of the first things we did in regards to managing our collection, is we made everything visible. Because if it's out of sight, then it's out of mind, and then you just end up buying games. And there were actually a couple situations where we ended up purchasing games that we already owned. So the second thing that we did to help manage our collection, and you can actually see it right now, and you've seen it in some Twitter posts if you follow me on Twitter, is external markers for our games. So we sticky our games, and we have different categories for different colored stickies. And right now our current categories are unplayed games, games that we need to reevaluate if they're staying in our collection, and games that you can play solo. And then we also have these purple ones because my mom came to visit, and the purple stickies are the games that we wanted to play with my mom / my mom wanted to play. She's no longer visiting us, but the stickies are still valid. One thing that I would definitely recommend is don't create too many categories of stickies. If you are setting it up and you realize that the first thing that you want to focus on is getting your unplayed games played, sticky just unplayed, and that's what we did first. And we even took it a level higher, and we made one shelf of our, one bookcase, all unplayed games. So we moved all of our unplayed games off of the other shelves, and we moved them to a single shelf, and we still stickied all of them. And so we had a rule where we had to play one stickied game for every unstickied game that we played. When we couldn't put any more things on the shelf, we had to play something to get it off the shelf so we could put a new purchase or something onto the shelf. So that really helped us a lot, and we were doing that last year for the most part. And using the unsticky system, we ended up getting rid of about 75 games. And we still have a couple games that haven't been played since we started doing that system, but the number is, I'm pretty sure I can count it on one hand, so it's not as nearly as bad as it was. It was really bad. I would also recommend, if you are using the sticky method to help you purge a collection, set a deadline for those purges. For the last major purge that we did, we had to play those games before we moved. And when we packed up the games to move, anything that still had that sticky was going. It was gone, it was out of our lives. And so we had this mad dash of playing stickies before we moved, and it worked out because there were games that we were just I read a review, I don't really want to play that anymore, or oh, I don't actually want to play that game. So there were games that we didn't play but we just got rid of, and we were fine with it. And then there were some games when that deadline came that we were oh, but I can't get rid of it, or we played half a game and it was so good, so let's just keep it. And we had a restriction where we couldn't keep too many of those, if that makes sense. It was basically a 1-to-1 for every unplayed sticky that we kept, we had to get rid of another one. So yeah, we got rid of a lot of games that way, and it was super, super helpful in paring down our collection. Speaking of purging games or getting rid of games, you want to make sure that you set aside a space for purging games. And once you have decided a game is going to be purged from your collection, take it off the shelf immediately and put it in that location. For us, we have a shelf, and once the shelf gets to a certain stage where it's full or there's enough titles in there that I feel it's worthwhile, we will bag up those titles and take them someplace to get them out of the house. But we don't take those games that we're gonna get rid of and like stash them someplace where we can't see them. It's still visible, it's still there, it's still top of mind, but it's not on our shelf for like when we eventually go to the game store and sell the games. It's like, no, we're getting rid of it. We decide we're gonna get rid of it. It's moving from there to there. That's it, end of story. And yes, sometimes games can come off of this shelf, but that doesn't really happen very often, and we kind of use that shelf as a buffer zone where like regret is a real thing when you're purging games, and you have to be okay with that. There are some titles that I regret getting rid of, but not enough to like go repurchase them. When in doubt over whether or not you should keep a game, sticky it. So right now, our primary stickies are pink, which are, we can't remember what we liked about the game, or maybe we're not sure we like it anymore, or we just are kind of undecided if we should keep it or not, and so it's pink stickied. So we've played all the pink stickies with some minor exceptions, and the idea is we may or may not get rid of it. So like this is a great example. So this is Village in My Village right here, and they're stickied because I played Village 2 years ago, maybe longer, and I really enjoyed it. And then My Village came out, and we've played My Village like 3 times, and I really enjoy it. But I can't remember enough about Village to decide if it's worth it to keep both versions of the thing. So, like, I know I really like My Village, but I don't know if I like My Village more than Village, and I don't really know if I like Village enough to keep it for its own right. So they're both stickied until we play, and at some point, probably this summer, I'm gonna get fed up and all the pink stickies are gonna leave. So yeah, that's when in doubt, sticky. When you're considering a specific title, think about the consistency at which you play that game, or do you tend to play another game instead? There's a great thread on BGG, which is games that fired other games, like Carcassonne fired, or Isle of Skye fired Carcassonne for me, something like that, right? So when you're looking at games in your collection, decide if you have another game in your collection that essentially fired the one game. So what's a good example of this?
So one example is Castles of Burgundy, the card game, which we played. Castles of Burgundy is one of our favorite Feld. It's our favorite Feld. And, and when we played Castles of Burgundy, the card game, maybe the second time, we realized we were getting kind of the same experience out of it. And it's like this big, like it fits in one of our portable gaming boxes that we take around. And so we've been thinking, like, do we really need Castles of Burgundy, the big game, when we have Castles of Burgundy, the card game? So that would probably be a game I added to the thread if we got rid of Castles of Burgundy, which we still might. So that's why one of the reasons we put a sticky on it. It is a purple sticky.
It's a purple sticky, but I put a sticky on it because of that. And also, this is a fun one. Mom owns a copy of Castles of Burgundy, which is another reason to get rid of it. Because if we ever want it back, we can just go get her copy. We did so many purges recently, and I can't... See, that's the thing. Like, we purged so many things from our collection, I can't even remember what we got rid of. Because that's how little it mattered in our collection. One of the big things that we did also when we started purging was we reduced redundancy of games. If we own a collector's edition of something, we got rid of the normal version. As I mentioned earlier, regret is a real thing. Don't shy away from it. That's why we have many different stages of purging. We have the sticky stage, we have the shelf of shame stage, which is actually what we call it, it's the shelf of shame. And we have it's in a bag and going to the store stage, which only lasts for a day and then it's gone. Don't be afraid of regret, just include it into your system so that you don't regret as much. We wanted to be willing to play any game in our collection, and while there are some points where it's like, oh, you only have 2 hours, so that 4-hour game won't work. Like, that's fair. If you don't know the rules yet for the game and it's gonna take too long to learn, that's fair. But if you know how to play the game, it fits within the time constraints, and you're still going, let's play this one instead, get rid of the game. Think about the game group that you have, and think about the collection that you have, and think about how many games you own that you have been waiting for the perfect player count or the perfect group of people to come over and play with you. If you've held on a game for like a year or 2 or 3 years and you've never played it yet, that's a sign to get rid of it. Especially if you're just like, yeah, we could play that, but we need this number of people or something like that. Like, why do you own that game? There are several options as to how to actually get rid of the games that you have decided you're gonna get rid of. And so we're just gonna go through these one by one. So first of all, friends and family. If, like I said, you have a friend that really digs the game or family that you think would really dig the game, give the game to them. There are several titles that have moved out of our collection into my family's collection or my nephew's collection that we're slowly building, because we're like, this game's okay, I wouldn't mind playing in it, we're not gonna play it, but we'd play it with them, so let's give it to them. So, you know, just shove the clutter out. Another great resource would be local game stores. If they have a used section or if they buy used games, that's one really awesome way to get rid of your games. Steve and I are lucky enough to live in Portland, the land of 6 game stores. Yes, you heard that right, there are 6 game stores in the Portland metro area. What? 2 of them, to our knowledge, have used game sections, and you can sell the game to them and they will give you 50% of what they will sell it in store credit. The Guardian does like a weird system, but either way, it's not as much money as I would be getting if I sold the game online, but it's out of my house immediately. I don't have to deal with shipping, and I get store credit at a local business, and selling my games to them helps support their local business. So it's like a win-win. I take a little bit of a cut, but I support local business and a game store that I really like. The BGG market and BGG like various sales, like no ship sales and things like that, are really great on BGG. There's really good resources. If you really have a hot buzzy game and you want to get rid of it, the BGG market is a great way to do it. Just price it like a couple bucks under what it's going for and it'll sell really fast. That's my experience. But charity auctions are a great way. If you have enough titles that you're purging, you can go ahead and do a charity auction on BGG, and if you do it correctly through the right charity resource, it's tax deductible for the people who are purchasing your games. It's not tax deductible for you, and BGG will waive the marketplace fee because it's not going through their marketplace. And if you want to save the money on shipping, you can have the people who win the auction pay for the shipping, or you can be super awesome and charitable and pay for the shipping yourself up to a certain point. Speaking of charity, what you can also do is you can donate your games to libraries, you can donate them to schools, daycares, children's hospitals, Ronald McDonald houses, any games that you have that would fit in those categories. You're not gonna donate like your intense mega war game to those kind of facilities, but you could donate a copy of Ticket to Ride that you just don't want anymore. As long as they're gently used and they're in good condition, several of those facilities would love to have games. You can do a flea market sale. Certain game stores, at least in our area, will occasionally do flea market sales where you can buy a table from them and set up, and it's like $5 for a table, and then you just bring your games that you want to sell, you put them all out, and then people from the community sell them or buy them from you. So that's a good one. You can also do like a flea market BGG sale if you want to team up with some other people. That's a good option. You could also just do a garage sale and just be like, board games, Craigslist, Facebook, so many options. Some conventions have flea market sales, so if you have a big convention in your area, you might be able to organize a flea market sale or just like ask if you could run a flea market sale there, so that's an option as well. And yeah, last resort I would say would be Goodwill or another charity shop. Goodwill tends to either not know the value of games and severely underprice them, or they'll severely mark them up. So it really depends. Also, some of those charity shops are for profit and they're not for helping the community. Goodwill is one that does a pretty good job of like sharing the wealth to the community, but it also kind of overcharges in some ways. So there's that. It's much better if you just will donate your game direct to facilities like schools or libraries or children's hospitals or stuff like that. But if nothing else, take it to Goodwill. And we've done that sometimes. Like, we've had games that like literally no one would take, so we just took it to Goodwill. I hope this video gave you some insight into how we manage our collection, and I hope that helped you in some way, like you got some ideas or something that you feel you can build on. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, feel free to subscribe. And I'm really curious to know, what do you do to help manage your collection? How do you decide what stays or what goes? And how do you get rid of your games? Like, what method do you use to get them out of the house? So yeah, I'm really interested in knowing the answers to those things. So if you want, go ahead and let me know down below in the comments. Steve's sorting our Star Wars Destiny and putting it away. Which, a video coming soon if it hasn't already come out.
That's the trick, right? You turn your used games into boosters for a collectible game, and then eventually you'll regret it.
I haven't regretted it yet.
Well, it's because you only get rid of the crap games.